What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday night Q&A Hangout, where we have some things to talk about. And before I get into the Eric Bieniemy news, the very recent news worth just bringing up here real quick is the fact that the AFC West just got a little bit more fun, competitive, so maybe stressful. I don't know. But the Chargers are honing in on getting a deal done with Mike McDaniel to be their offensive coordinator. So he's expected to become the Chargers OC barring a change of heart. I think somebody else, potentially Ian Rappaport or Tom Pelissero, said if he doesn't get a head coaching job, he is going to be the offensive coordinator of the Chargers. He's still a candidate for the Raiders and Ravens head coaching jobs, but if McDaniel is an OC in 2026, it is expected to be in LA. So there you go. A little bit more coaching shifts going on and updates in the AFC West. So you not only have Jim Harbaugh to worry about, Sean Payton, but then I don't know what the Raiders are doing, like what their coaching staff is going to be doing, but they might be getting the number one overall pick, or they are getting the number one overall pick, but they are more than likely getting Fernando Mendoza. And from there, the Chiefs just got to be on their P's and Q's because the AFC West isn't getting any easier, right? So I think that's a good hire for Mike McDaniel, but that's why a lot of us have been in the same mindset here that no matter who is available in the coaching cycle with the Chiefs needing an offensive coordinator, no high-profile guy was going to have any interest in coming to the Chiefs. Why? Because they want to run the plays. They want to run the offense and call the plays, and you're not doing that in Kansas City. Now, I can also tell you this. The Chiefs had no interest in bringing in an outside voice. It was going to be Eric Bieniemy, Mike Kafka, or just that was it, essentially. They had no interest in interviewing somebody else. None. So did they interview somebody else? I think so. Mitchell Schwartz pointed out last night, maybe, on Twitter, that in order to comply with the Rooney Rule, all coordinator positions that are open, you have to interview two minorities from an outside team. Eric Bieniemy is one. So who was the other? Maybe they haven't done the other technically, and everybody's ahead of everything with the reports and stuff, because Eric Bieniemy is not officially the offensive coordinator, but it is basically a done deal. All the insiders have already reported on it. Jordan Schultz, Ian Rappaport. It's already done, essentially. But yeah, in order to comply with the Rooney Rule, you have to interview two outside minorities from different teams. And so Eric Bieniemy was one. Who was the other? Don't know, because they never told us. We never heard from anybody. Even Nate Taylor today on his podcast with Joshua Briscoe, KCSN Only Weird Games, he said, yeah, there could have been another, but I don't have a name for you. So cool. So the second guy is irrelevant because a little birdie told me 2 weeks ago, EB is the favorite. Once the Bears are eliminated from the playoffs, that's essentially what to prepare for, what to expect. And the title of this is just something along the lines of people are split, mixed opinions on Eric Bieniemy becoming the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. And here's the truth. Well, the truth is, I do think it helps, especially when you consider the fact that Andy Reid was not interested at all in bringing in somebody from the outside. Like, no interest at all. So how does this help? Well, you're bringing in Eric Bieniemy back as OC, but he's a longtime NFL running back, former NFL running back, longtime former NFL running backs coach, was just running backs coach with the Bears under Ben Johnson. You'll glean a little bit from that, right? But their running backs coach was Todd Pinkston. And then who was it? Mark DeLeon was their assistant running backs coach, I believe it was. Let me confirm that name. Yeah, Mark DeLeon was the assistant running backs coach. So the running backs coach for the Chiefs last year was Todd Pinkston. He was a former NFL wide receiver. Their assistant running backs coach, you know what his history was at coaching? Well, let me show you, because here's his history of coaching. Can you tell me what you see? What do you see about the Chiefs' assistant running backs coach that they just fired this year? He never coached running backs before. So they had no Eric Bieniemy. They had Todd Pinkston as their running backs coach, a former wide receiver, and their assistant running backs coach was a linebackers coach. First year coaching on offense, at least on the offensive side of the ball with the Chiefs in particular. He was a quality control coach in 2014 and 2013 with the Chiefs. But that's insane to me, to be honest with you. That is insane. You combine that, coaches with no experience coaching running backs, with a not great running back room, and you have a head coach that doesn't really care all that much about running the football. So how many times this past year did we say they need to figure out the running back room? They need to run the ball. They need to go more under center, and they need to invest in the running back room. Trade for Breece Hall before the deadline. Everybody would tell you that one of the primary issues with the entire team is the running back room, or the lack of running back talent in said room. Well, they not only barely invested in the running back room, 1-year flyers, 7th-round draft picks, they didn't have any investment in coaching and getting experienced coaches into the room to coach these guys up, to draw out the best of them. And I'm kind of smiling. It's not funny. It's actually kind of insane to think about it, like in hindsight. But they fired Todd Pinkston, the running backs coach. They fired Mark DeLeon, the assistant running backs coach. They fired Connor Embry, the wide receivers coach, who had 1 year of experience coaching wide receivers in high school. They fired somebody else today too, an offensive assistant. Sam McDowell of the KC Star. Kevin Saxton was also let go, an offensive assistant. So what you did is you bring back Eric Bieniemy, so much experience at coaching running backs. Yes, he's the OC. He'll do more with the offense than just get into the nitty-gritty weeds with the running back room. But then you bring in Chad O'Shea, who is a longtime wide receivers coach of 20 years, since 2007. So they're bringing him in, and he coached with the Patriots for 10 years, the previous dynasty, as their wide receivers coach, and helped them get 3 rings. So you're going from a wide receivers coach who had 1 year of experience coaching wide receivers at the high school level to a wide receivers coach who's been doing this for nearly 20 years with multiple different teams, was the OC for the Dolphins, I believe, in 2019, and has been with the Browns since 2020. I don't really care what people's thoughts are about the Browns and their lack of production in the receiving room. That team is a train wreck. I take nothing. I have no takeaways from a coach on the Browns in the last 5 years. None. 0 takeaways. That team has been a train wreck. The way that they handled Baker Mayfield's situation, you traded for Deshaun Watson, it's all been bad. So, sure, there's a reason why he's moving on. And Kevin Stefanski's gone with the Browns. He's no longer there. So you're going to have some shifting in the coaching staff anyway. So the Chiefs get a really experienced wide receivers coach. They get a really experienced running backs coach in EB, who is the OC, and you still have an opening at running backs coach and the assistant running backs coach position. I hope they bring in somebody with a little bit more experience than they had in previous years. And if they do, that's about as good as you could hope for in an Andy Reid offense. This is the most moves they've made. Change needed to happen, and they're making change. Or they're making changes, plural. So it does make sense what they did, considering this was all we were ever going to get. Somebody that was here before. That's it. Andy Reid had 0 interest of bringing in somebody from the outside. You can love that. You can hate that. You can love EB and him coming back. You can hate it. because of reasons, your own reasons. And I think when you're starting to piece this stuff together, I get more excited about it. But just EB in and of itself coming back, like, I was fine with it. I get it. It was what I expected anyway. It's what we've been talking about for weeks. Eric Bieniemy's coming back. And there's elements to his game that you missed. Yeah, people are like, they don't really know how to quantify or to look at this and be like, well, people say they miss the accountability and the discipline that EB brought, but what does that actually mean and what does that practically look like? Sometimes I don't really know. Because do grown men really need to be screamed at by a coach? Not really. I don't need to be screamed at to do my job. But it can light a fire under some. And I will say this. Matt Nagy's moving on. He didn't get the Titans head coaching job, but he is moving on. He's gone. But there is one play in particular I remember watching Matt Nagy on the sideline. It was a 4th down. Can't even remember what game. It was during the Chiefs' losing streak near the back half of the season before Mahomes got hurt. It was a 3rd down. Mahomes tried to hit Brashard Smith on a wheel route. Brashard Smith was supposed to slow up, and Mahomes was trying to hit him on the left side before anybody else was around, but he kept going down the field, and it just was incomplete, and they had to punt. It was a crucial time in the game when the offense had been stalling out and sputtering and struggling. That happens, and you want to know what Matt Nagy did on the sideline when he was right there? Because this is how I remember it. He was right there, right by the sideline where Brashard Smith didn't get the catch. This is what he did. He did nothing. He showed no reaction at all. Eric Bieniemy would have been pissed. He probably would have yelled at him right then and there. Called him a bunch of names. I don't really know. Whether you love that approach or hate that approach, I don't love seeing nothing. Why are we pantomiming on the sideline when the Chiefs' offense is sputtering and you need to win some freaking games? They need to light a fire under these dudes' asses. That's the reality. So, based on who you had, the options that you had, Eric Bieniemy's back. Love it or hate it. That's the reality. You're getting more experienced coaches, wide receiver room, running back coach in EB, and then we'll see who the actual running back coach is going to end up being. Hopefully that's another guy with experience too, because you can't get away with just all these weird internal promotions from guys that don't even have experience and get away with it. I understand that's common around the NFL, and that's how guys kind of climb up the ranks. They test the waters with new positions and coaching new position groups and all that, but no, not anymore. Not anymore, at least for this year. And that's a lot of change for Andy Reid. That's a lot of change. We haven't seen this much changes on the offensive coaching staff since when? And it's always just been like a guy here or there. So that's why it makes sense to me. And that's kind of where we're at. It was never going to be anything else other than a familiar face. Andy Reid never had any interest in branching outside. Even if we wanted him to. He don't care. He doesn't look at social media. He does not care what we think. Now, respectfully. Like, he appreciates the fans and all of that. But anyway, that's where we are. The AFC West isn't getting any easier. The Broncos are probably losing to the Patriots this weekend, and that's that, because Bo Nix sadly broke that bone in his ankle. And I don't wish success for the Broncos, but I don't wish injury upon anyone, ever, regardless of the team and where you're at. Just a gut punch, I think, for Broncos, the players, the fans, to find out on the final drive Bo Nix fractured a bone in his ankle that required surgery, and he was scheduled to have surgery today, by the way. He was scheduled to have surgery today. Anyway, how are you guys doing? That's all I got for you, at least for right now, with updates and thoughts. But from here, it's a conversation. How are you guys feeling? What are you guys thinking about these coaching moves? And I would love to process through it with you guys. Now let's go draft some pass rushers. Sure. I think that was weird. Sorry. I think that'll be an area of emphasis. You always need to invest in the trenches. The D-line needs help. The D-line needs work. We'll see when they draft pass rushers and what that ends up looking like. But yeah, absolutely agree with you there. Don't down on my boy Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, he hasn't played football in 2 years, like real snaps in a game. The Patriots were 5.5-point favorites, which is the largest. I think that's like the largest line for a road underdog potentially ever. EB, the next head coach? No idea. I have no idea. I would think if that time comes, Andy Reid wants to retire, the Chiefs are going to do a very exhaustive search for who's next and what's next. I don't think they'll do an internal promotion without interviewing far and wide, because you have Patrick Mahomes and yeah, all that comes with that. Meaning a lot of people could potentially be interested. It's been a really crazy couple of weeks just from like Sean McDermott got fired. Bills fans are mad. They think Brandon Beane's the problem. A lot of them, compared to Sean McDermott. John Harbaugh's gone. He's with the Giants. Stefanski's now with the Falcons. There is so much going on. Can Big Red really pivot? So yeah, I think with that being said, because you're not bringing in somebody new, it's on Andy. It's on Andy, and it always has been on Andy to adapt the offense. And he's been a head coach in the NFL for a long time and has adapted and pivoted through multiple phases, multiple eras of the NFL. I don't know if eras is the right term, but every few years you've got to really reset because there's new metas or there's new trends and things start to shift one way or the other. And yeah, I think he'll adapt. He has to. If he wants to keep winning, he'll adapt. If he doesn't want to keep winning, then no. But I truly believe he wants to win. He's been chasing Super Bowls all his life, and he's had 3, been to 5 in 6 years. 7 years now, I guess. 5 and 7 years. I got to quit saying 6 because 7 is right in a couple weeks. But yeah, I have to believe that Andy Reid wants to win. And I do think he will adapt and he will change to some extent. It's not going to be an overhaul in the sense of brand new playbook. They're going to run out there and just run plays we've never seen before all the time. It's just not going to happen. There will be wrinkles, and then you have to upgrade the personnel. There has to be an emphasis in the running back room. You're upgrading coaches and getting more experienced coaches, which is great, but you also need to upgrade the people in that room, the running back room for sure. Does Travis Kelce return? My gut says yes. My gut says he does return. This is exactly why the Eagles fired him. Yeah, I mean, if you go look at the Eagles records like by year and where they were at, they had a few like mediocre years and then he was gone. He's not going anywhere after 1 year. I think he's earned another year to kind of right the ship here. Again, I've said this a few times. I feel like a bit of a broken record, but if the Chiefs they struggle next year and they're 500-ish, miss the playoffs again, then okay, yeah, it's time for a much more serious conversation. And even if that just means bringing in a higher profile offensive play caller that can come in and help Andy Reid in the offense, right? I missed it. What did I miss? Franco in the house with the 100 bomb today. I was watching a Guess the NFL Player by Transfers video, and I got 38 out of 40 wrong. Oh, man. NFL Transfers? Guess the NFL Player by Transfers. What does that mean, by transfers? I don't know how many I would get right. By the way, who's in the jersey wall with Travis? You got Pacheco, Bolton, Okoye, and Chris Jones. You got Kelce, Pacheco, Nick Bolton, yeah, Christian Okoye, Neil Smith, and then Chris Jones. There you go. Bam. Oh, college transfers? I would get all of them wrong. There's no way. College transfers? Yeah, I would get all of them wrong. So don't feel bad. I think the chances of Kelce coming back got better with EB coming back. Yeah, maybe, Judy. all the players have spoke highly, not all, but a lot of the players have spoke highly of Eric Bieniemy over the years. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones was excited when he heard EB was coming back as OC. He posted a story on Instagram. Cole, do you think the defense gets any coaches fired? Does Tobe run special teams by himself? He doesn't run special teams by himself, but I don't think Dave Tobe himself is going anywhere. There has been like a couple of Chiefs coaches that have moved on defense, but they've been like, it's two guys and they went on their own volition essentially. But I mean, there's a lot of different coaches when you actually like look, there's me. Look at this guy. There's me right here. No, I'm just playing. That's Andy Reid's son, Spencer Reid. I don't know if there's really like I don't think most of the defensive guys are really going to go anywhere. Right? I think most of the changes are done. Could be wrong, but I think most of them are done. Percy, thanks again for the 100. Jennifer with the 10 bomb. Let's go. Thank you so much. Terry with the 2. The new. We're celebrating your 10th super chat on a live stream. Shout out to you. Thank you for another super chat. Let's go. Yep. The Chargers got Mike McDaniel. They did. EB won't take over play calling. No, nobody's taking over the play calling, Crimson, which you guys know that. Andy Reid's calling the plays. He's running it. He's running the show. Has EB been officially hired? He's been officially hired as he can be. Because I'm not sure the Chiefs are going to announce it on their end and actually have him sign on the dotted line until Matt Nagy gets another job. That's like my guess. But yeah, I was told about 2 weeks ago that Eric Bieniemy was the favorite and to expect it to happen as soon as as soon as the Bears were out of the playoffs. The things you're talking about are not coaching errors. They're GM or head coaching errors. Lack of experience at the position, not the fault of the staff member placed in the position. No, absolutely. So that's on Andy Reid, and they're addressing it and changing it. I say it's on Andy Reid because I really feel like he runs the ship over there. Brett Veach doesn't run the show, guys. Are we serious? Brett Veach came up under Andy Reid. He doesn't run the show. Andy Reid runs the show. So absolutely on Andy. Yeah, everything goes back to Andy Reid. But did those coaches need to go? Yeah, they weren't qualified. It's like, get them out. Like, you got to get some coaches that are more qualified. So I wish them the best in their next chapter. I don't love it when guys get let go and have to move on. But yeah, if you want to play like that, yes. It all comes back to Andy Reid, but the coaches clearly weren't getting the most out of their players because they weren't qualified enough to be in the position that they were in. So, of course, everything goes back to Andy when he runs the show, and he's addressing it. He's making changes. How do you think Ashton Gelati will produce next year? I don't know. I'm hoping for a step up from him, of course. He looked better in the back half of the year as I started giving him more reps. I mean, he was playing borderline starter reps the last 5-6 games. I would have to go check the snap counts, but yeah, got to hope for another step up from Gelati. Hopefully Omar Norman-Lott comes back looking strong as he can off the torn ACL, and then Mahomes also is rehabbing from the ACL and LCL. Good vibes, Eloise. You're under a boil water advisory due to a water main broke? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Where's Nagy going? Isn't he still with the Chiefs? I haven't heard more than rumors, reports about him leaving. No, he's not under contract. His contract didn't renew. He's not coming back. He's interviewing for other coaching positions. So where is Matt Nagy coming back? What is he coming back to? If Eric Bieniemy is the OC, right? Is Matt Nagy coming back as a quarterbacks coach? Like, is he going to take a demotion when he wants to work his way back to a head coaching position, a head coaching job down the road? What the Chiefs are probably trying to do is wait until Nagy officially gets a job somewhere. and then they'll announce it. The hiring of Eric Bieniemy. But when Ian Rappaport and all these guys have already announced that it's going to happen, it's essentially a done deal. 61 All Mine said, while we're shaking things up, let's please get a new special teams guy or get Tobe some young assistants with new, fresh ideas to help bring our special teams to life. Yeah, I'm sure Dave Tobe is safe, I would assume, because they've been a top 5 unit off and on for quite a while. Now, I think somebody pointed out they haven't had a punt or a kickoff return for a touchdown in like 5 years. I do think there's more to life than just returning a punt or a kickoff. Like, I would be happy with just a much higher return average and the penalties to dip down 20%. I would be much happier about that. But yeah, I think Dave Tobe is probably safe. The big 3 were basically always safe to me, and those are Spags, Andy Reid, and Tobe, not Nagy. Nagy was not part of my big 3, and he's gone. There's no official announcement that needs to happen with Matt Nagy because I'm turning down my heat. That's why I'm looking at my phone. There's no official announcement that really needs to be made about Nagy because he's no longer under contract. He didn't renew it. You think Eric was the reason why Swift was so productive this year? Maybe. But I do think you could point to Kyle Monangai and his development and him being productive as an Eric Bieniemy thing for sure. DeAndre Swift, I'm sure you could point to that as well. There is some elements of just, hey, Ben Johnson is a really good coach and he's a really good up-and-coming coach for a reason. But Eric Bieniemy was the running backs coach and Kyle Monangai was a 7th-round draft pick. And if you look at all the running backs drafted, he was top 5 in most of those metrics among all rookie running backs. Yards per carry, explosive runs, missed tackles forced. So I do absolutely, I think not any and every, but positives that you take away from the running back room and the players' development, EB had a very active role in that for sure because he was the running backs coach. Will EB have more say than Nagy had? No, not. I mean, I don't think so. 51% is what Andy always has, and it's probably more than that at times. But do I think EB might be able to more effectively butt heads and push back on Andy than Nagy? Yes. So I don't think he's going to have any more say than Nagy, but he will be a little bit more probably blunt and brash about it. And it's worked before. You got if the EB experiment after all those years went so bad when he ended up leaving, if it was that bad, he would not be coming back. So basically everybody's speaking highly about him and most of the players. Seems like he ended on a good note. He wanted to go try to chase the head coaching dream, and the way to do that is to go to an offense that it's either a managerial type of guy like Sirianni or John Harbaugh, maybe even Jim, to be honest with you. I can't remember. Jim's an offensive guy, but he doesn't call the plays. You either need to go to a place like that. I mean, that's what you need to do. Really, that's why Eric Bieniemy went to Washington under Dan Quinn. It didn't work out, but that's what he was trying. Cole, apparently the Chiefs had interviewed Andy something. Never held players accountable. I have no idea who that is, bro. Andy Kotelnicki? Who's that? I haven't heard that name one time. The previous OC of Penn State University? No idea. I mean, maybe, but not sure. Don't think so. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Terry, thanks again for the 2. Jayhawk with the 10 bomb. Do you think it's close to the end for Andy? I've noticed in interviews and press conferences he seems low energy, not very enthusiastic. Maybe it's reflective of the scheme getting stale. Well, this year I think he was probably a bit more somber at pressers than he has been in previous years just because it was a tough year. It's a lot harder to come out and talk to the media week in and week out when you keep losing games, right? But yeah, he is getting older. I think that's probably a benefit of having Eric Bieniemy back. Like, I understand Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy, like, does not like Eric Bieniemy because Eric Bieniemy holds people accountable and like yells at them, and he doesn't like that. But he said something to the effect of, Andy, let me see if I can find the tweet. He can't tweet that much, right? Yeah, this is what he said. He said, the Chiefs will hire him back for the discipline and yelling. Andy getting older and can't do that while also calling plays. He's probably being like a little bit facetious because he doesn't like Eric Bieniemy, but I think there's some truth there. And yeah, Andy Reid is he's highly respected, but Eric Bieniemy is going to come in there and he's going to be pretty blunt and pretty honest about what he wants and what he expects out of the offense based on the expectations that Andy Reid set. But do I think it's close to the end for Andy? Yes, in the sense of he's on the tail end of his coaching career. The guy's almost 70 years old. He's under contract through, I think, the 2029 NFL season, so technically 3 seasons left, 26, 27, 28, 29, maybe 4. I would need to see when his contract actually expires, but he's got like 3 years left. Andy Reid contract, 5 years, $100 million extension in April of 2024. The deal runs through the 2029 NFL season. Now, will he actually coach every single one of those years? I'm really not sure. He's 67 now, turned 68 in March. So, yeah, he is on the tail end of his career, but I'm not really sure when he's going to be done. I'm not. I think if they find a way to keep winning, he'll be around for sure. If he could there's just so many scenarios that could play out. It's hard to really speculate and go down the rabbit hole. Sorry, not rabbit trail. That's not a thing. Rabbit hole. It's hard to go down that rabbit hole of potential scenarios with Andy Reid. But yeah, he's got a few years left for sure. Eric, thank you so much for the membership, man. Let's go. Ghost Daddy with the 30 months said, with a 30-month Redbeard is insane. 30-month Redbeard, don't worry. I'm still Kyle. Oh, okay. I was like, who is Ghost Daddy? Anyway, I'm just under 3 weeks away from my Walt Disney vacation. Boy, oh boy, I'm excited. Let's go, dude. Heck yeah, man. Is Cole Unk? Maybe. I'm 34. I know you're not a college guy at all, but any thoughts on who the Chiefs could get in the early rounds? Yeah, I haven't dug too much into it, but I was looking at some of just like the top draft prospects and like kind of starting that. I know the national championship just happened. It's so hard to know right now until we see what the Chiefs do in free agency. But I know a lot of people have been talking about Ruben Bain. There's been a bunch of people talking about Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon. Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver out of USC, which I know Lemon's a smaller bodied guy. I think he's like 5'11", but he's 200 pounds. There's obviously Carnell Tate. I've seen some people talking about the Chiefs, even if he was available, taking Caleb Downs, the safety out of Ohio State. Jeremiah Love, obviously, has been on a subject of conversation for a lot of Chiefs fans because of the running back room. But it's just kind of hard to know. It's going to be hard to know what they're even going to need at that point in time. Do they make a big swing in free agency for, say, Breece Hall? With the safety room, are they bringing back Brian Cook on a multi-year deal and they don't need to take a big swing at a safety early? It's really hard to know. But yeah, there's definitely some prospects that are going to be available in that area, and that's not to mention other pass rushers that maybe could be available too. What do you think about the Chargers hiring Mike McDaniel? Yeah, it's a good get. It's not like official in that sense, from what I understand. I think the way it was being reported was if he gets a head coaching opportunity, he's going to take it. But it's weird. He turned down the Browns interview today. Ooh, they just dropped another article about him. The Chargers are expected to hire Mike McDaniel is the team's new OC. Sources tell Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington. Do we have any details at the bottom? McDaniel has interviewed for multiple head coaching and offensive coordinator jobs since his firing. McDaniel will now be, but it was Tom Pelissero, I think, that said something along the lines of he's still in the running for a couple of head coaching jobs. He's still a candidate for the Raiders and Ravens head coaching jobs, but if McDaniel is an OC in 2026, the expectation is he's going to be with the Chargers in LA. You're getting water, be right back. All right, fair enough. EB is a serviceable offensive coordinator, said Creati Vertical, Casey. I hope Creati, how do you say that? I don't know. Vertical, I'm just going to call you Vert. Uzi Vert, just playing. He's a serviceable OC and an excellent running backs coach. Look at Pacheco. Yeah, I mean, Pacheco looked really good. As good as you could, I think, hope for in a 7th-round pick for his first couple of years, and then he broke his ankle. But yeah, you got what's the phrasing? You got a lot of juice out of the squeeze. What's the phrasing? You got a lot out of Pacheco. Yeah, so he's definitely an excellent running backs coach. I agree with you, and he's in the Chiefs offense. It's fine for him to be OC because Andy Reid calls the plays and is in charge of the offense. Jai? Dude, I always ask this every single day which one it is. I'm so sorry. Do you think they'll end up keeping Pacheco with EB coming back? I personally just hope they don't, and hope they refresh the room and try some new stuff, because Pacheco's vision issues were just a problem. We'll just put it that way. Like, yes, sometimes the O-line could have blocked better. The scheme and the play calling could have been better. But Pacheco was bottom 3 in missed tackles forced on the season out of all qualified running backs. They need to just try something different, in my opinion. Now, would I be surprised if they brought him back on like a vet min deal or something? No. But part of me hopes they upgrade it. They upgrade the room and just go a new direction. With a couple different guys. That's just me personally. I wish Pacheco well and hope he catches on somewhere. Pacheco, Manungai, late rounders, very productive. Commonality, Eric Bieniemy. Facts, brother. Yeah, he was my dream. Like, if you say, hey, who should the Chiefs have as a running backs coach before all these hires went down? I said, Eric Bieniemy. Can they get him back to Kansas City? Now, here's part of the issue. I think teams can block. They reserve the right to block lateral moves. So, if the Chiefs wanted to hire Eric Bieniemy as their running backs coach, the Bears legally within their right, if he was still under contract, which I don't know what Bieniemy's contract details were, but if the Chiefs just said, hey, we want to interview EB for running backs coach, that's a lateral move, and that could be, I'm pretty sure they could just like straight up block it if he was still under contract. But a promotion, a stair step, that is where you can't block that. So that's kind of a way around it, even though, yeah, my dream was for EB to be the running backs coach, but I think it's fine that he's the OC. Keep Hunt for short yardage. Yeah, he could definitely come back for short yardage. Do you think EB's beard will affect his play calling? No, it's going to enhance it, actually. It's going to enhance it. Kyle, thanks again for the 30 months. Jay with the 5. You're watching Morton Anderson kick a field goal against the Browns because Rudd threw his helmet mid-play and he sacked Trent Green. I just watched that play earlier today. I did watch it. Hey, Cole, thanks for streaming. Yeah, man. Do you think Eric B will be good for the discipline on the offense with penalties? Yeah, I didn't really talk about that at the beginning. It's hard to know. There's just so many factors with penalties because if you go look at the Chiefs and the offense and how many penalties they drew each year, it was kind of all over the place. And I think they weren't great EBs last year. I'm either reading it backwards in my head and they were better EBs last year, but the year prior they weren't. There's just so many variables. Pre-snap stuff. I hope, though, that they just have less penalties in general. And if EB can help with that, I'm totally down. I am totally down. Try and get King Henry? Nah, he's under contract. He's under contract with the Ravens. You're going to have to get a pending free agent. And I like Kenneth Walker a lot, but since Zach Charbonnet of the Seahawks, he just tore his ACL. Like, since that happened, I don't know if the Seahawks are going to let him go. They'll probably try to get a long-term deal done with him, I would think, maybe. Cole, do you see previous Chiefs players who could come back because of EB returning? And on that note, do you think that could help get Tyreek back on a cheap deal, asks Trees. I mean, I guess the OC could play a role a little bit in players returning, but I think if they wanted to come back and the stars aligned and it worked and there was mutual interest, even if it was still Nagy or some other offensive coordinator, I think it's fine. But I'm just trying to think, like, previous players. It's really hard to know. I have no idea. But could it affect Tyreek Hill? We'll see. He's not going to be a Dolphin in 2026. But the problem there is he's coming off of that very serious knee injury. I'm not going to say, like, no, there's no chance Tyreek Hill comes back, but I'm going to give it like a 2 out of 10 right now. That's what I'm going to give it. Casey with the 5. Let's go, man. I like the wide receiver coach hire for sure. Hope we get a good running back coach like that. Do you think they waited to hire one until EB was hired to get his input? Yeah, possibly so. Like, what if EB wants to bring in somebody in particular, somebody he's worked with in the past? Remember, EB's been away since 2020. I think 2022 was his last year, right? So 2023 with the Commanders, 2024 with UCLA, 2025 with the Bears. So maybe that could play a little bit of a role for sure. Hey, EB, you're the OC, man. Who is somebody you think that we could bring in? You got any ideas? I'm sure they would listen. We need to move forward, not backwards. Can only bring Tyreek back if it's a cheap deal. Yeah, he's not going to have a big market value coming off of that serious knee injury, and he's going to be 32 years old. Ray said, funny how Pacheco's first 2 seasons, everyone had no issues with his vision, but loved how he played hard. He runs so hard, he makes the earth run faster. I heard that a lot about Pacheco. Well, yeah, but when you took away his speed because of the injury, it just, his deficiencies was amplified. His lack of vision was amplified with that. So there's a reason why Pacheco fell to the 7th round to begin with. But yeah, after the ankle, I just don't feel like he's looked right. Don't feel like he's been quite himself. Jayhawk with the 5. What's up, dude? Really hope Veach gets some actual exciting free agents and not cheap out with old players or other team burnout. Sick of us not spending. Yeah, the Chiefs have to spend a little creatively compared to some. The teams that we often see going on insane spending sprees would be teams with a quarterback on a rookie deal or the Eagles, because they don't care. They just push everything down the road and they do not care. The Chiefs are a bit more conservative, but you also have a couple guys on some big contracts. So you've got to be a little creative with that. Now, with that being said, they need to make some signings and they need to bring some people onto the roster that could be meaningful, impactful players. And I get what you're saying. It's like a 1-year deal here. Like, look at the running back room, even the wide receiver room. It's like, well, they just bring around these like random 1-year deals. But that part of the wide receiver room is because they've got Rice, you've got Worthy. Like, you drafted them both in the first 2 rounds, right? And then you drafted Jalen Royals, which we'll see about him. I don't know what to expect from Jalen Royals this year. But part of the roster thing is you've got to pay some guys big money, right? You then have to have some cheaper deals and then draft picks on even cheaper rookie deals to stay competitive. And you can't pay everybody, especially not how the Chiefs operate, man. But yeah, the wide receivers coach, Chad O'Shea, 20 years of experience. He's been with multiple teams now, was with the former dynasty and the Patriots. Like, that's a guy. It's like, okay, that's a ton of experience compared to who you have or who you had prior. Jayhawker with the 5. Let's go, dude. Thank you, man. I really hope Veach gets some action. Okay, I did read that. Yeah. Thank you for the 5, man. Mars with the 5. Cole, thanks for the stream. Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. We got 550 in chat right now, so I appreciate each and every one of you. Hollywood on his stream today said he doesn't play for any team and he's a free agent. Yes. Does that mean we won't bring him back, or am I dense? No, he's just a free agent. He's not under contract with the Chiefs anymore. There could be talks of bringing him back. I honestly have no idea what is going to be done there. I'm not opposed to it per se. I have a lot of respect for Hollywood Brown, and I do think he was one of the better receivers in man coverage. I do think getting a more experienced wide receivers coach in there, upgrading the running back room, and then trying to shift your offense to like 10 to 15% more from under center rather than almost always in the gun. I think that would be helpful, and it would also benefit the receivers. So I'm not opposed to a Hollywood Brown return, but I have no idea if they'll actually bring him back or not. I would love them to go out and get a dude. And when I say dude, I mean a 6'4" guy that can kind of just make plays. You could throw him the football, even if it's a 50-50 ball, and he's going to come down with it more than 50% of the time. I understand the Chiefs don't like to do that, but I think they're lacking that in the wide receiver room a little bit. Would trading a third for Justin Jefferson be possible? No. Because the Chiefs are never going to take on his contract. It's $35 million a year. Impossible. I do like Justin Jefferson, and that would be a lot of fun, though. Hey, all the re-addition of EB I think will help. Yeah, I think so. I talked about it a lot at the beginning if you want to know my thoughts on it, but yeah. Is A.J. Brown under contract? Yes, the Eagles will probably trade him in the offseason. Night Hunter, what up, dude? Mayor, hey, dude, yes, that's exactly what we need. What do we need? Oh, like a bigger guy? Oh, a dude, yes. Okay, I'm reading that. Yeah, and I don't know who. Let me look at wide receiver free agents. Let me look at this. Wide receiver free agents. Wide receiver. Unrestricted free agents. Okay, exiting out of that. Okay, bam, that took a minute. Let's look at, let's sort by market value, but it doesn't really matter. Like, you're probably not getting a George Pickens, right? Can I spread this out more? Okay, there we go. Yeah, you're probably not getting like a George Pickens is too much. Juwan Jennings is a free agent. He's going to be a little pricey. But Juwan Jennings, could he be a dude? Sir, what's your height and weight, sir? Can you not see? Of course you can't see. We're just looking at that for contract stuff. Yeah, he's 6'3". Again, I'm not saying that's the answer, but I'm just like, if you go and look at the available free agents, like he's 6'3", 212 pounds. Much bigger body type. He's a little bit older. He'll be 29 next year. But again, any of these guys hitting free agency, they're either going to be very expensive or they're being let go for a reason. They're older or maybe not like the best wide receiver on the team. I think Deebo Samuel is going to be a free agent. That guy is 30. Adam Thielen is retiring. Hollywood Brown's still available. He's 28. I'm just trying to think of Rashid Shaheed might be available. Like, he could be. So there's a guy. Wan'Dale Robinson, Alec Pierce. They're going to, for sure, reach out to several of these guys. Christian Kirk is available, potentially. He kind of has been having some games with the Texans. But maybe one or two of these guys could potentially get franchise tagged. Like, I don't know if the Cowboys would actually franchise tag Pickens, but yeah. Alan Lazard, oh boy. Mike Evans is tall. Yeah, I didn't even say Mike Evans, but that is a possibility. He's going to be 33. next year, but it is a possibility. He is a dude. That is a dude that's like, yo, go up and get that. He'll do it. Yeah, for sure. Debo's washed. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Some of these guys don't know how much I love, but got here late. How do you feel about EB? What up, Mehoff? With the 2 bomb. Thank you, man. If you want to, go to the very beginning of the stream. I talk about it for like 10 minutes straight. But the TLDR, I don't mind it. You know, somebody said on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you feel about Eric Bieniemy coming to KC? I said like a 4. But that doesn't mean I'm not with it and I can't see the plan. I would just like to see some fresh blood in there. And it didn't happen. So, you know, what do you do? You're going to sit there and complain about it and whine about it all day? No, I'm not. That's not what I do. And once the Chiefs brought back EB, they brought back the more experienced wide receivers coach. If they upgrade the running backs coach with more experience too, like I see the plan. Andy Reid runs the offense. He's in control ultimately, so it's up to him to adapt things a little bit, and then we'll kind of go from there. Yeah, I don't dislike EB. I'm fine with it. Evans will go get it and then sit on IR for 8 weeks. Yeah, he did break his collarbone. That was unfortunate. But he's also had a hamstring issue like every single year for quite a while. I think he's dealt with a hamstring issue at some point in the season, like 6 years in a row. Jeremiah Love. Yeah, that is an option in the draft for sure. Jay said, I think depending on the draft and free agency signings, it'll tell us a lot about our chances this season. Yeah, and then Cole stole Andy Reid's son's beard. He might be older than me, maybe, but let's see who's older. Spencer Reid. Spencer Reid, coach, age. He's 33. Oh, yeah, I'm older. He stole it from me. What's up? He stole it from me, man. But yeah, of course, you've got to see what they do in free agency. You got to see what they do in the draft. And then you've got to hope that the coaching staff can get the most out of those players. So upgrading the coaching staff at some of these key position coaches and the OC with EB, like we all agree in here, whether or not you're extremely excited about Eric Bieniemy coming back or not, I think most of us, like 90%, would agree that is an upgrade from Nagy. Whether it's a big upgrade or not, and I understand the bar might have been a little bit low, but I think most of us in here would say, hey, EB is an upgrade from Matt Nagy. So you got an upgraded OC, a more experienced wide receivers coach. You fired the running backs coach, the assistant running backs coach, and we'll see what changes they end up making here down the road with those backfills. You think we signed D-line and running back so we don't depend entirely on the draft? Yeah, Arrowhead. Any team, the responsible thing to do is address a lot of your needs in free agency in some way, shape, or form so you don't go into the draft desperate and overextend yourself for a certain position. That's what the Chiefs typically do. They're going to address D-line and free agency for sure. They will probably address the running back room, and it'll be a little bit telling if they kind of go aggressive to address the running back room. Then we're going to see that and be like, oh, well, okay, well, they're probably not going to draft a running back in the first few rounds if they do draft one in this year's draft. Over, under on EB chew outs of Jawan Taylor in training camp. That's a great question. Over, under? Well, I don't even know if Jawan Taylor is going to be on the team. So how about that one? I'm going under 1 because I'm not sure Jawan Taylor is going to be on the roster in 2026. There is a possibility they could extend him. Some people wouldn't like that, but he is a above average right tackle and pass pro. He's a top right guy on the graph. So that is the only options there. It's either you get rid of him, cap, you're going to save like $20 million in cap space, or you extend him and lower the cap hit because it's hard to find quality tackles on the open market, but they're also already paying Jalen more money. So, yeah, I don't know if Jawan Taylor is going to be on the roster. He is still technically on the team, Eric. He's under contract for 2026. It's just he's an expected cap casualty. Thoughts on D-Hop returning? No, thanks. I mean, I guess it's fine, but they brought him here, 2 seasons ago, mid-trade, and they barely used the guy. And he's going to be 34. I'm good, I think. We talk about the new wide receiver coach being from Cleveland. Is that where he's actually from? Or just that was his former team? Where is he actually from? Chad O'Shea. He's from Kentucky. He was born in Texas. But yeah, he was with the Browns for 5 years previously, from 2020 to 2025, as their wide receivers coach and passing game coordinator. Is EB being mentored to take over after Andy Reid retires? I have no idea. I think when that day comes, you got to expand the search far and wide and interview a bunch of people. Is it confirmed he's coming back? Who? Eric Bieniemy? Yes. By multiple NFL insiders already. You're scared? I wouldn't be scared. I understand the Browns haven't been great on offense, but think about the upgrade that it is from an experience standpoint. It's only going to help. With this whole thing going on with Rice, do you think he'll play next season? Just got to let it play out, Marvel. I mean, the allegations are out there with the post, right? And then the post was taken down. That's all I know. Could lawyers be involved? Maybe. There hasn't, from what I understand, been a police report filed, because typically once that happens, TMZ or somebody gets their hands on it, they put it out publicly, and then things start to go from there, right? But I don't think the police have been involved, or there hasn't been a report filed, rather. Maybe that could happen down the road, but that's all we got right now. So could it affect his season? Potentially. But as of right now, just a big unknown, big question mark. It's kind of like there's like a storm coming, and it's like 50% chance of rain. Like, could the rain hit your house? Maybe. Will it? No idea. You think Pat returning week 1 is too rushed? He's aiming for week 1, right? But if the doctors aren't, like, if they don't think he's ready, they won't clear him. So I think if he's ready week 1, it's only if he's medically cleared, and I'd be fine with it. But will he look the same out there week 1 as he did last year, pre-injury, running all around like a maniac and being Superman? Probably not. Again, if you're cleared to play football, he could do that. But how many players do we hear about they tear an ACL and they just say, yeah, like, I didn't fully trust my knee that next year, or for part of that next year, I was still like trying to get all of that back and just get all the trust back, and still working through some, like, remember Najee Johnson? He tore his ACL in training camp a couple years ago. And when he was coming back from the ACL, like he said, at training camp, there were times when it would like swell up. And there were times when he would have good days. There were times when he would have bad days. And that's with him cleared to participate in camp practices. So I hope for the as quick of a full recovery as humanly possible for Patrick Mahomes. But every recovery is so individualized, it's tough to tell. But hopefully he'll be ready week 1. If not, that is why you might have to spend some money on a higher end quarterback too. Like, maybe not like Malik Willis, because I think he's going to get, who knows, 15, 20 million a year on a couple year deal, maybe more, with or from a team that needs a bridge quarterback, because I don't think this is a great quarterback class. Like, the best guy is going to the Raiders. And then the other guy that was supposed to go to the draft, I can't even remember who he is right now. He said he was returning back to school. You heard a rumor Chiefs might retire Javon Belcher's jersey? Why'd you even say that, to be honest? Is that funny? You find that funny? Like, okay. If you don't know, Javon Belcher, he's the one that offed himself at the Chiefs practice facility in 2012. So, cool, man. Hope you feel good about yourself for bringing that up in that kind of a light. Mason with the 5. I hope we re-sign Pacheco, but if we don't, I see us drafting Love, especially with EB coming back. I think Pacheco can have a big up year. I hope they do more than just bring back Pacheco. I would like to see them get a higher profile free agent. But we'll see. Here's the reality. We can say what we think should happen or what we want to happen, but the Chiefs often have their own plans because they run everything and not us. So they always wanted EB to come back. We want a refresh of the running back room, and they might just be like, yeah, we'll draft somebody early this year for sure, but we're going to bring back Kareem Hunt, and I don't know. I don't think they bring back Pacheco, but I also don't think bringing back EB as the OC is going to influence to an extremely high degree who they draft in round 1, because I still think that's a Veach and Andy Reid thing more than anything else. The Chiefs require substantial improvements, said Ajan, particularly in their wide receiver positions, which currently appear to underperform, enhancing their offensive. So you're either AI or maybe English isn't your first language and you use like a translator, but I felt like Grok. I was reading Grok there, but I totally get, and I think you're being sincere in what you're saying. I agree. Particular like the wide receiver room, I would love. That's why I think upgrading the wide receivers coach is helpful. That's a good start. Adapting the scheme that became stale and predictable, that should help a little bit more. Then yeah, you need more out of Rice. You need more out of Worthy. And he got shoulder surgery, was playing through injury a lot of the year, so hopefully he looks good. Yeah, so I think he will look good, look better than last year in theory. But yeah, I am kind of team. I think that where I sit with everything with Rice, it's like I think he's a really quality wide receiver too. But I would really like a guy, especially if Kelsey comes back, and maybe even if Kelsey comes back, get somebody else. I don't know if it's through the draft early or in free agency, but they're just so expensive. It's like either get another quality guy that's right up there with Rice, or like I don't think in my head I can get there to them spending like money on George Pickens. It doesn't seem possible to me. Cole ran out of vocabulary. What did I do? What should Chiefs do in the cornerback room? Well, you have Christian Fulton coming back on the 2-year deal. The last year of his 2-year deal. So I think there's that. You got Noel Williams and you have Trent McDuffie. There's the debate of should you trade Trent McDuffie and bring back Jalen Watson? It's possible, but the Chiefs don't need to trade Trent McDuffie. He's on his 5th-year option and you can franchise tag him next year. Pickens is a headache. Yeah, right tackle is a question mark. That's true facts, especially if they get rid of Jawan Taylor. Are they confident enough in Jalen Moore? You're paying him enough, they might just have that work out. But you're right. 4 of the 5 offensive line positions, they're solidified. To me, Josh Simmons, Kingsley Sewell-Mata'ia, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith. That's why some say, hey, draft a tackle early. And fans wouldn't like that, right? But championships are won in the trenches. So that's where some of the people's arguments are. And I think some are a little fearful of the O-line because of all the injuries this year. But you can't help that. And sometimes injuries are just worse than others. And you were on offensive tackle 5 and 6 by the end of the year. That is not the norm, right? But I think 4 of their 5 offensive linemen are set, and you can have Jalen Moore at right tackle if you want to. But I wouldn't say that the right tackle answer is completely set. And then depth, yes. Esapole, he'll be around for depth, I hope. I like some of the tackle depth that they have, especially if they were to get, like, if you're either extending Jawan Taylor or getting another right tackle prospect. I don't mind the idea. Or maybe it is just Jalen Moore. But yeah, you do need depth, and you do need more quality depth as well. Mike Caliendo, I think you need to upgrade your your interior O-line depth as well. But then, yeah, D-line. D-line is more of a need than O-line by a mile, said Vertical. And yeah, you don't have, like, you're probably not bringing back, well, we don't know. We don't know if they're going to bring back Big Mike Pennell. We don't know if they're probably not bringing back Derek Nottie. They're probably not bringing back Charles Omenihu. Mike Dana, you can get out of his contract, right? You need to help Chris Jones. You have George Karlaftis. We don't, like, FAU is on the roster, but he's a question mark. We just really don't know. We just don't know the status on a couple of those guys. And so, yeah, I agree. You need defensive line help for sure. O-line is a far lower concern than other positions. Depth is a priority. Yeah, hopefully you just kind of marry the two in free agency and then in the draft as well. Maybe you take, with you having your left tackle of the future, you could potentially find your right tackle later if you need to. Yeah, we need guard depth. Yep. Caliendo getting lifted like a baby out of a crib every game. Okay, that was a crazy description. I just pictured it happening. That was crazy. I think fans forget how tough it is to just move on in the playoffs, much less make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I think, well, if you've watched football for a while, you know how hard it is, but we have, not on purpose, but sometimes we take it for granted as Chiefs fans because that's all the Chiefs have done every single year since Mahomes became the starter. They made it to the AFC Championship. The floor was overtime in the AFC Championship game. That was the floor of the Chiefs season. Every year from 2018 to 2025, that was the expectation. AFC Championship game or Super Bowl appearance, possibly even a Super Bowl win. That is not the norm. It is extremely difficult not only to make the playoffs, but to make another deep playoff run. And with the way that the AFC West is shaping up, with the Broncos and Sean Payton and Bo Nix on his rookie deal, and you're now fully out from underneath Russell Wilson's contract, Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers, they now have Mike McDaniel is what it's looking like as their offensive coordinator. The Raiders, we will see. I don't know what they're doing over there. The Raiders, you might not have to worry about for a little while. Even if they get Mendoza, which they probably will, I don't know that he's just going to come out of the gate his rookie year with all the needs on that entire roster from a coaching staff, too. I don't think they're just going to come out and be hot, like red hot. Could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. But the AFC West is not getting any easier. And if you win your division, you're in, right? The Chiefs won the West every single year since 2016. It was like 9 years in a row until this year. Fire Andy Reid. I mean, it's not happening. So you can say that all you want. Like, I could stand outside in the desert in the heat and just stand and scream at the sky, please, or rain now. Rain now. Well, the reality is rain's not coming. So Andy Reid's not getting fired. And that you can type it, but it's not going to do anything but maybe hurt your little fingers. Oh, who's your most hated division rival? Most hated division rival. Probably the Raiders for me. I think it depends on who you ask. Some would say the Broncos, but I would say the Raiders. I think the Chiefs-Raiders rivalry, that's just one of the most prolific rivalries in all of football. Fire Sean McDermott. Oh, wait. Cole, do you play Madden at all? I do not. I'm not very good. Okay. Jay with the 5. Thank you, dude. Jay, thanks so much for the 5. Do you think people will finally see that Allen is nowhere near Mahomes, or do you think they'll keep blaming team/coaches? I think Allen is up there with Mahomes from a best quarterback in the league situation. But I don't think there's a debate on who QB1 is, if that makes sense. Like, Mahomes is QB1. That's not a debate. But can Josh Allen, is he QB2 and very high up there? Sure. But I do think he had a bad game, and it did not help his case at all. At some point, you have to just admit or place some blame on the quarterback. Injuries happen. Weaknesses on the roster are a thing. The reality is the Bills have a good O-line. They have James Cook, who had 1,600 yards. You have a borderline top 10 or right around top 10 tight end in Dalton Kincaid. Khalil Shakir, one of the better slot wide receivers in football. You don't have like a legitimate, dependable deep threat, but you also have Josh Allen as well. So no roster is going to be perfect, and I do think the Bills missed a little bit in the wide receiver room, but they were also banged up, right? Tyrell Shavers tore his ACL. Gabe Davis tore his ACL. Curtis Samuel finally came back, but Joshua Palmer didn't play in that game either. So, yeah, sure, you can look at all this stuff and say, yeah, they had deficiencies. But Josh Allen threw 2 picks and he fumbled twice. One of the fumbles, it's hard to blame it on him when it was just like a flub on the left side of the line, right? That strip sack. But the fumble before halftime? That was insane, brother. What the was that? Holy smokes. He turned into CJ Stroud. What was that? That was awful. And then the pick. Yeah, he had 2 picks. One of them was the debated one where was that a catch or was it a pick? But then he threw another one in the third quarter. So before that, and it's just like at some point you just have to say, yeah, he was not good enough. And he's 0-7. The Bills are 0-7. Josh Allen's 0-7 in overtime. Thrown 0 touchdowns and 2 picks in overtime. 8-8 is what the Bills were in the playoffs under McDermott. It's just like at some point, the debate has to at least end as far as who the best quarterback in football is, because to me, the best find a way to overcome these injuries, find a way to overcome the refs and all this stuff and win games when it matters. Right? So that's kind of where I'm at with it all. I think somebody in here recently was like, yeah, Cole defends Josh Allen way too much. It's like, I don't even know that I defend him all that much, but I don't think he's like a piece of garbage. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but I think Mahomes is QB1. Like, if you had to list your top 5 quarterback, unless you're just straight up trolling, you're probably putting Josh Allen in there, and he's probably 2 or 3. Like, who are you putting over? If you say Mahomes is QB1, I would just be curious to see some of you guys in chat. Like, who's your top 3, top 4 quarterbacks? I would just be curious to see who it is, because I'm sure most of you put Josh Allen in there. But no, he's not the best quarterback in the NFL. And he's not showing up in these big games. That was like kind of my knock on Justin Herbert this year. It's like, dude, I can only defend you for so long, Justin Herbert, if you keep laying eggs in the playoffs. Yeah, but his O-line and this and that. It's like, dude, Patrick Mahomes won the AFC Championship game throwing passes to Marcus Kemp. I'll say that one more time. Marcus Kemp, Sky Moore, and MVS. And then he did have Travis Kelce with not an insane run game. Yeah, Jerick McKinnon, I think, maybe that year. But it's like, dude, can you overcome and find a way to win, or can you not? That's where it ends for me. Destiny with the 2 there, almost 600 in here and only 150 likes. Wow, I appreciate that. But yeah, slap that like button if you're enjoying the stream. Appreciate that. Thank you, Destiny. Stafford. Yeah, I think I had Stafford as like QB5 heading into this season. He's by far the best quarterback left in the playoffs. I don't know that it's even close. Same thing with Lamar. Yep. Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Burrow. Yeah, if you want to put Lamar, Jackson over Allen, I'm not even going to argue it. It's fine. Burrow, if he can stay healthy, he's up there. What should the Chiefs do in the cornerback room? I did answer that. I think you asked me that. Somebody asked me that question, and I addressed it, but thank you for the 2. Bring back weekly power rankings on CBTH. Did you like that? I could. For next year, we could. Bring back weekly power rankings. Could definitely give that a try. Brad with the 5. If Minshew is already ahead of PH, I don't know what that means. PH, physical. Do you think they'll use him for a couple of games until PH? Is that Patrick Mahomes? That must be Patrick Mahomes. That's what that must be. That's fine. If Minshew is already ahead of Mahomes, do you think they'll use him for a couple of games until Mahomes is 100%? Well, that's assuming that they are bringing Minshew back, right? Brad, thank you for the 5. They might bring him back, and that is an option with him already having a year under his belt in the system, that is an option to bring back Minshew, and you can't rule it out. Tillery, I didn't mention Tillery, Barbara, but yeah, I don't think Tillery's coming back either. Yeah, I don't think Tillery's coming back either. Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Joe Brr, Joshy Boy, Lamar. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think most people, those are probably about the 5 quarterbacks that are up there. And I'm trying to remember what my top 5 was heading into the 2025 season. It was something like Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Stafford, Herbert was probably like where my top 6 were. I don't know why I had to make such an aggressive like face when I was thinking about it. I was really, really trying to think there. I was really trying to think. But yeah, Brad, Minshew is definitely an option, and they have to plan for the option of whatever quarterback they bring in this offseason to potentially be playing some games at the beginning of the year. You have no idea if Mahomes is going to be ready. Mahomes said it himself. The goal every single day, what's driving him is to be ready to go to play week 1. But you could have setbacks. It's impossible to know right now. He's only a month out, like just over a month out from surgery. Yeah. A month and a couple of days, or maybe 5 weeks. Let's see. I think Josh Allen is definitely leagues above the ones in the playoffs right now. Definitely top 3. Just made some terrible mistakes. Yeah, and I think it's probably wise to not overreact about one game in particular, right? But I feel like Josh Allen's had plenty of playoff games and plenty of opportunities to get the job done. Like 13 seconds in that game, there's really nothing else you could do. He scored a touchdown with 13 seconds left in the game, and the Bills were winning. And then the Chiefs drove down the field, kicked a field goal, got into overtime, won the toss, drove down the field, and scored a touchdown. Josh Allen could do nothing else. So that game, no. But there was a couple other games. Think of I think it was the AFC Championship a couple years ago now where Tyler Bass missed that field goal wide right and the Chiefs ended up winning. Well, why did the Bills have to kick a field goal there? It's because the offense couldn't get down there, right? That's near the end of the game. Josh Allen couldn't do it. Then, even more recently, and that might have been a different... Dude, the Chiefs have been in so many playoff games, I can't even keep track of it. I know that's a spoiled fan take. But whatever that game was, it was the year the Chiefs went into Buffalo. It wasn't the AFC Championship game. It was the divisional. Because I think they went into Buffalo, won, went into Baltimore, won, went to the Super Bowl, and won. One of the craziest playoff runs ever. But then, that playoff game against the Chiefs where the Chiefs were at Arrowhead, I believe it was, and on that 4th down, maybe they were in... I don't know. I'm getting my games mixed up, guys. But there was also the game against the Bills where Josh Allen had the 4th down throw to Kincaid and underthrew him. That was at Arrowhead, I'm pretty sure. And that was basically game over there, and Josh Allen had an opportunity. So those are already a couple of games where there were opportunities to get that game done. And then even the Broncos game. Josh Allen turned the ball over 4 times. There were opportunities to win that one too. So I agree. Mr. Insanity with the 2 thoughts on McDaniel as new OC for Herbert. Yeah, I've talked about it a couple of times, but that's going to be fun. I like that a lot. I'll be very curious to see what that offense ends up looking like because it's such a different hire. It's such a different hire than who they had. Greg Roman is who they had. That's like way different. We need Jameis Winston, said Mike with the 2. The only problem is he's under contract with the Giants. He signed a 2-year deal. So he's going to be the Giants' backup next year. Najee Harris to the Chiefs. I think they need a bit more than that, and he's coming off the Achilles. So not a huge fan per se, but that's no disrespect to him. Cole, do you think Nagy could return in a diminished role, like PG coordinator? Oh, passing game coordinator. I was like, PG? I don't think so, no. I think he wants to move on and climb back up to be a coach again, and he needs to get on an offense where he could eventually call the plays. I highly doubt he comes back, but I won't say never. I think it's highly unlikely, but there's always a chance, I guess. They will make another rule change this offseason to benefit Bills. Now all contested catches will be reviewed. Well, they reviewed that and determined it was the correct call on the field. I mean, they reviewed it eye in the sky. It was overtime. The fumble before halftime looked like running around with a handbag. Yeah, and he gifted the Broncos 3 points, and then they went to overtime. How much did the Broncos win by? 3. So it's like, come on. Everybody deserves a Winston? Heck yeah. Yep, I did see the Chiefs fired offensive assistant Kevin Saxon. Yep, I did. Getting A.J. Brown is risky because he keeps dropping passes. I don't think they're going to give up draft capital and take on that contract. Do you guys? Dan Orlovsky. It was an interception. Yeah. I kind of heard both arguments, and I can kind of see both. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah. I kind of get it. But at the same time, I'm like, it looks like an interception to me. If you disagree with me, that's fine. But it looks like an interception because he didn't survive the ground. Now, some are showing the slow-mo of like he caught the ball, he had possession, his knee was down, then he rolled over, then the ball was stripped out. I'm like, okay. But I still just don't think he survived the ground. Now, I had the Bills winning, so I don't have any weird like bias about it. I thought the Bills were going to win that game. I put money on them winning that game. I thought Buffalo was going to beat the Broncos, and they did not. Cole used to rap. Yeah. I made hip-hop music for quite a while. I haven't made music in like 6 years now, maybe. Cole, ironically, they changed the OT rule after the 13-second game. Yep. Had that been in place for Mahomes' first championship game, yeah, could have beaten the Patriots that year, and that was a 2018-2019 AFC Championship game, the D Ford game. Mm-hmm. For sure. Cole, what do you think of Sam Howell as a backup QB? Oh, man. I guess I'm not opposed. I don't even know what life is looking like for him. Is he a pending free agent? Where is he at? What's he doing? But he wasn't a great quarterback. So I would hope for a little bit higher profile guy as QB2, but he does have real game experience. He's got more playing experience than Jarrett Stidham. So you never know. Don't remind you of D Ford. My bad. The Bills weren't robbed like they're making it seem. No, I don't think so. It was a close game and closer play. Cooks didn't ensure the offense came away with the ball. And maybe he couldn't have. Yeah, I don't know. You had 4 turnovers in that game. 5, actually, because James Cook fumbled. You're not winning. I'm sorry. You turn the ball over 5 times in a game, you're not winning. Cancun on 3, 1, 2, 3, Cancun. See y'all there. 5 turnovers in a playoff game. Sorry. Jarrett Stidham legacy game incoming? Maybe, but I do not have high hopes for him. Could the Chiefs get Mike Evans? Potentially, yeah. You like Spencer Rattler? What do you think? Is he still under contract? I don't know his contract details. But that's such a weird situation over there with the Saints because Tyler Shuck, I guess, is their guy. Yeah, what did they do with him? Did they release him? Like, I don't even know what his status is, but we'll see what they do. Running through the 2027 season. Yeah, I think he's still on his rookie deal, so he's not going anywhere. You're concerned about Butker? You probably have the right to be. I think he looked better in the back half of the season compared to the front half for sure, but yeah, I think you could consider bringing in some kicking competition if you want. You're not going Butker's not going anywhere. He's on a big contract. But if you're nervous about him, like the coaching staff, if they're nervous about him, they could absolutely bring in some kicking competition. It's fine. I don't think it's a big deal. Maybe it hurts pride and ego a little bit, but they did that with Matt Ariza in the offseason too, and he clearly won the battle. EB as OC and running back coach needs to be made first before a choice of running back is made. Do you agree? Yeah, and they got time. They'll get all that hammered out. because free agency frenzy, I mean, the season ended so early for the Chiefs, guys. The Chiefs are still normally in the playoffs, and their season hasn't ended till like the second week of February. But free agency frenzy isn't until March 9th. All the coaching hires are going to get filled before March 9th. They'll be way ready by then. Surviving the ground was removed from the NFL rulebook in 2018. What do you mean? If you jump up and catch a pass and you hit the ground and don't survive it, it's incomplete. Butker's got to suck it up and keep dropping to that knee. Just clean it up every offseason. Ooh. Don't keep cleaning up the meniscus, man. If you were Brett Veach, which position group would you target first in the draft? If I had no idea what they were going to do in free agency, I'm going D-line if the right guy falls. I think you need to invest in the trenches and just really get a playmaker to offset George Karlaftis and really also help out Chris Jones. So again, I'm speaking way too early, but if the right guy, whether that's Bain or whoever is available at 9 and Spags thinks he can work with them and put him opposite of George Karlaftis and rotate him in with Gelati and then have Chris Jones there, I think that's where I would go right now. Yo, Vin and Sorry with the check mark and the kind words. I did not know where this comment was going because he said, I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm a Brady lifer. But this dude is bar none the best in analysis and play-by-play. Literally the only option I really trust out there. Really good show. Well, what the heck? Thanks so much for the kind words, man. From a Brady lifer. That's cool. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with the play-by-plays. And are you familiar with my second channel, Cole Breaks the Huddle? I cover NFL-wide news over there. But shoot, as a Brady lifer, I'm assuming you're saying you're a Patriots fan, so best of luck on Sunday. I have you guys winning. I might actually put a decent amount of money on you guys winning just because I think it's going to happen. So that's pretty awesome, man. I appreciate the compliment and the kind words. Tired of putting running back off? Well, I am if I'm saying go D-line in round 1, I am assuming that gets addressed in free agency. Like pretty decently addressed. But again, if Jeremiah Love is there, sure, I'm open to the idea. You could definitely talk me into it. Somebody was saying Josh Allen is better than Mahomes. Nah. No, but thanks so much for the kind words, man. That was a really cool comment. I do try, like, I try to get better. I try to get better every single year, and I study as far as, like, I try to memorize every player's number, their names, as much facts as I possibly can about the opposing team that the Chiefs are going to be playing, or even just for the playoff games. I'm trying to study and everything too. So we'll definitely do more non-Chiefs games next year in some capacity, but I don't know what all that looks like yet. David Bailey at 9 sounds like a good option. Ruben Bain will be gone before 9. There you go. I've heard several people talk about David Bailey as well. Cole, who did all the Chiefs fire so far? Cole, you're 100% at your best unscripted. Let's go. Yeah, if you guys don't know, like, I don't always script every single one of my videos either. So, like yesterday's video about Eric Bieniemy, the first half was scripted, but with all the breaking news about all the coaches, the entire second half of the video was off the cuff. So, and then sometimes I just do bullet points. So it's like a mix of I'm scripted, I'm not, I'm free-flowing. But yeah, live streams obviously completely unscripted. And then the game, like the play-by-plays, that's just me reacting to football because I love football. No, I didn't know you had that other show. By the way, the way you handled the rest stuff, I show my sons. I show them how a winner handles losing. You lose like a winner. That's what I need my sons to know. Dude, let's go. Yeah, I try to be super consistent on the ref thing. Like, are there bad calls? Yes. Do I sometimes be like, yeah, that was a bad call. That was super unfortunate. But if the Chiefs lose, I'm not going to blame the refs. It's the same thing when the Chiefs win. I'm going to tell people, don't be a little cry. Like, don't blame the refs. Don't do that. Like, own the L like a man or an adult. So I appreciate that. I do try to keep it like that. And some Chiefs fans don't like that. They're like, Cole, you need to call out the officiating. I'm like, well, I'll let you know in my videos if that call, like, I don't agree with that call or it was a bad call. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, the Chiefs lost this game because of the refs when they had this opportunity, this opportunity, this opportunity, and this opportunity throughout the game to put up points, and the offense flatlined for 2 quarters straight. Or Mahomes had a pick in the red zone. Or whatever. You could, like, pick your poison there. So that's awesome, man. I appreciate that. Now, do the refs suck? Yeah, they freaking suck. That's like every single game, though. Officiating, I have a low bar for officiating. Like, I am not surprised when they miss calls. I am not surprised when they are inconsistent with the call. And Carrington Harrison said on his show the other day, he's like, you could have 10 different officiating crews, and like 5 of them will call. Five of them could have called that Brandon Cooks play at the end in overtime a catch, and the other 5 would have called it an INT. So it's pretty inconsistent across the board. The head coach for the Bills called out the official. Where is he now? Yeah, that's true. I mean, let's be honest. Has everybody out there been perfect about the officiating stuff? Like, no, Mahomes had a day against the Buffalo Bills when Kadarius Toney was called for offensive offsides, and people still hold that against him. But he was really upset about that call. That stuff happens. But for Sean McDermott to get to the podium and say, I watched that play for 20 minutes and I vehemently disagree with the call on the field, they were wrong, and I'm standing up for Buffalo. It's like, come on, dude. That's when I knew he was done. I was like, yeah. I was like, there's more reasons why he's going to be fired. But I'm like, he's done after that. They're going to move on. And I even thought before the game, like, if you don't win this one and can't get to the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl with no Lamar, no Mahomes, like, you're probably done. McDermott stood up for the Bills, then stood down the next day. Oh, no. Yeah, I did see what Baker said about Stefanski. That was crazy, actually. Do you see us going and getting Isaiah Likely in free agency? I think some of that depends on if Travis Kelce returns, to be honest. Yeah, so if you guys didn't see what Baker Mayfield said, let me see if I can find it. So this guy wrote an article. This guy here. Ledbetter. He's a Falcons beat writer. But he said, Falcons, Kevin Stefanski had a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson failed. Really? That's your take on Baker Mayfield? Seriously? Helping them win their first playoff game in how many years? Fighting through the jacked up shoulder? But then he went on to say, which started a chain reaction to 11 other starters. Shedeur Sanders closed out the season with 7 starts. Well, Baker Mayfield saw that. But you know what? Follow, buddy. He said, failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text or call from Stefanski after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. Holy, get the popcorn. I'm ready for some Falcons and Bucks games, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready for some Falcons and Bucks games. Totally AI? No, that's not AI. I promise. Look, this is on Baker's account. 840,000. This is Baker. Look, followed by New Heights. This is Baker. This is Baker Mayfield's account. I could understand why you think it's AI. But dude, that's real. That is real. Torn labrum. Yeah, man. Torn labrum. I've had 2 labrum surgeries, and they are not fun. The injury sucks, especially as like you being a quarterback and needing your shoulder, playing football. I think it was his non-throwing shoulder. if I remember right, but it doesn't matter. Chicago Packers beef. That's a fun beef. Yeah. You prefer Kingsbury or Bieniemy? Well, I don't know if it matters what I prefer because it's done. And I don't even know like if Kingsbury would have worked in Kansas City because he would have wanted to call the plays. So I don't even think that was a realistic option. The Rams inheriting beef for the Packers. Yup. Let's see. David Bailey is a bust. Take Love or Downs or even Spencer. Fano or in trade Taylor. Trade Jawan Taylor. Maybe you could find a trade suitor that would be willing to trade him and extend him, and you get like a late round pick for him or something like that. Like maybe a little bit more than what you got for, well, I say a late round pick. They got a 4th for Joe Thuney. That's an interesting thought. Trade Jawan Taylor. Whoever would trade for him would want to extend him. I guess you can't rule that out. Baker is a great guy all around, at least from what we see. Some people don't like Baker, but some people don't like Baker for the same reasons they don't like Lamar Jackson. Maybe not the exact same reasons, but they're both just kind of like unapologetically themselves. And so, like, for example, Baker Mayfield is like cussing out fans at some stadium when he was about to run out onto the field, and then he found him afterwards and said, I told you. And it's just like, I don't know. I kind of like that. Some people don't. Some people want their quarterbacks to be way more buttoned up. And Lamar's not like that, but he's just like, he'll get online and troll. And just you could tell he's like a little bit more, he's just more unapologetically himself. I don't know how else to say it. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Get a Brown. He's exactly the kind of wideout that would work in KC. AJ Brown? That's what you must be saying. I'm like Brown. I'm like Hollywood Brown. Like a guy with the last name Brown. AJ Brown. I mean, I would be surprised if the Chiefs traded for a player because of the draft capital issues, but I'll never say never. Baker's confident. It's a good quality. Yeah, they did have a bad season, but he could be good. He just hasn't proven much at the college level, and don't think a 50-50 pick at 9th would be a good idea. Oh, you're talking about the guy you said was a bust. Okay, fair enough. Lamar plays video games while on a team Zoom call. Does he? I don't know. Kyler Murray for sure does. Yeah, AJ Brown. Okay, got you. I was like, A. Brown. It's like, I first thought Antonio Brown, dude. I was like, whoa, hold on a second. Bieniemy watched the Caleb Williams throw and wanted to come back immediately. Oh, that's good stuff. I think that had been in the works for a little while, bringing EB back to KC. We have to take the focus off Mahomes. I want running back, no questions asked. Oh, you won't find me disagreeing with you, Eric. I absolutely agree they need to upgrade the running back room. And if that's through Jeremiah Love at pick 9, I'm not going to complain at all. I think they would, in theory, hopefully address it in free agency. But, dude, if you want to go get a game-changing running back like Jeremiah Love on a rookie deal, cost-controlled, you're not going to hear me complain about it. Maybe I was too fast. What happened? Whoa, what happened? I don't know what happened. What just happened? I tried to click on a comment and it took me to a different screen. No, we're back. Hear me out. The Pro Bowl needs a press conference competition. Like who can have say the most words without actually saying anything at all? Let's do it. Isn't that like the average presser? Why are you timed out? I don't. I feel like Nightbot instantly flagged you. Yeah, you were timed out by Stream Elements, but I don't really know why. It was like an auto flag. Mendoza seems like the nicest guy, and unfortunately is most likely going to the Raiders. Yep. Might have to pick up a corner with McDaniel as the Chargers OC now. You've got three. You got three for sure. Noel Williams, Christian Fulton, Trent McDuffie. But you can never have enough cornerback depth. You can never have enough wide receiver depth. I think safety is something they need to address. Brian Cook's on a contract year, so he's done. He's a free agent. You've got all these guys like Jalen Watson is walking in free agency. You could definitely draft a corner. Linebacker like Leo Chanel is a free agent. Drew Tranquil, you can get out of his contract. I think the Pats could pick him up because of the Vrabel connect. Who? A.J. Brown? If I'm the Patriots, I'm going and getting A.J. Brown. You still have Drake May on the rookie deal. Like, you've got a pretty solid team. I think that would be a good fit, personally. But yeah, he's got the connect from when A.J. Brown was a Titan. Wide receiver, coaching, running back, coaching, wide receiver. I'll never understand that. You might be having a conversation. I'm just jumping into it, but definitely coaching is important to help enhance all the players, man, which is why the Chiefs are upgrading their position coaches right now. McDuffie's likely getting traded this offseason. Well, that's a scenario for sure, Mizzou, if you want to grab some more draft capital or get some more draft capital. But you don't have to trade McDuffie. He's on his fifth-year option, and you can tag him next year. You could play him on the fifth year this year, $14 million, tag and trade next year. Or you can trade Trent McDuffie and sign Jalen Watson to an extension instead. Like, there are several possibilities you could kind of go, or you let them both walk. I don't love the idea of letting them both walk and then taking a calculated risk on a draft pick, because you know Jalen Watson and McDuffie are proven and can play ball. So I don't love the idea of rolling into the season with Noel Williams, Christian Fulton, and a second-round draft pick at corner and just being like, yep, it's fine, it'll work. Trayvon Diggs at CB, he is a free agent, but you would just have to bring him in on a cheaper deal and see how it works on the 90-man roster. Yeah, hopefully McDuffie's not traded, but he is one of the more tradable players because of his caliber, his level of play, and if a team needs a cornerback that bad, would they be willing to trade a couple picks for him? But they also need to be willing to extend him. Are my super chats like broken? Sorry, I'm refreshing the page. Because it looked like Okay, we're alive. We're awake, we're alive. Dub Freak with the 10 said, hey Cole, 4 a.m. here, just woke up for work. Holy smokes, just woke up for work. Has McDaniels joined the Chargers? Yeah, that is the expectation. He's going to be joining the Chargers as their offensive coordinator, which of course is a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. For the Chargers, like, that's a great get for them, to be honest with you. It is a great get for them. Is Jameson Williams an option as wide receiver? I think he's still under contract, but let me look it up. He's not a pending free agent. Or did he already sign it? He signed an extension. No, he signed an extension. He signed like a 3-year, $80 million extension. No, he's under contract through 2029, and he's only 2025 right now. So the Lions did right getting him locked up there. I forgot about that. Over, under 49.5 sacks for Mendoza, probably over. What up, Shannon? Still won't win a playoff game, though? Wait, who? Yeah, J-Mo would be crazy. You're right. This is a strong coaching roster if he does join the Chargers. No, you're right. And it's looking like what's going to happen. So, God bless. God bless the AFC West and the Kansas City Chiefs. Because it's not getting any easier, that's for sure. What up, Jordan? Well, man, I appreciate each and every one of you hanging out. I am going to call it. It's been an hour and 45 minutes. It's 10:05. But, man, thanks, everybody, for hanging out, talking some Chiefs. Thanks for all the super chats, dono bombs, members holding it down, everybody asking questions and hanging out. We'll be back with a long-form video tomorrow. There will be some stuff worth talking about for sure. And we'll see if any other news happens for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then we get ready for the AFC, NFC Championship games this weekend. We'll be streaming those. Should be some fun. But I appreciate y'all. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go.
How about those Chiefs?